Injustice comes at the speed of light. Here's your look at the new Hiya toys. This is the Injustice 2, The Flash. Exquisite Mini is a new standard setting series for 1/18th scale featuring super articulation action figures from the folks over at Hiya Toys. The very first thing we'll do is figure out how tall Flash stands. I decided to put him on the display stand because I just think it makes the figure seem taller, especially when you see him on camera. I'm still taking the measurements though from the start of his feet all the way up to the top of his head, so I'm not really adding and factoring in the display stand. I just, like I said, feel like the figures stand also a little bit better with their stands. Nonetheless, though, according to the readout on the front of the screen here, if I'm reading this correctly, the figure of Injustice 2 Flash stands 4.2 inches in height, and that in centimeters works out to be 10.8 centimeters tall. Another one of the reasonings why I kept Flash on his stand was just because Joker stands a lot better on his stand, so that you guys can see the difference in height. Unless I'm seeing things and I exclude the fins, the little lightning bolts on the sides of Flash's head, it does seem like the Joker stands a little bit taller. Problematic, though, is a little bit on Joker's legs, because the legs are kind of bow-legged, so that's why one of the reasons why I wanted to put them on display stands, so that I could do the comparison side to side here. I suppose while we're also on the topic of display stands, all the Hiya Toy Exquisite Minis come included with these little eye brackets. You probably remember these from the countless times that we've had a look at these on this channel, but just as a refresher, what you can do is you can take any one of the bases, and there's two openings on either side, on both sides and on either side here. Just take your eye bracket, fit that in between, take another display stand, and just like that, you can connect the two together. This is ideal if you want to have multiple stands connected together, especially if you want to have it displayed like the Injustice 2 characters are fighting one another. Now, you can expand even further than that. It's really up to your imagination and how many stands you have available. You can expand them this way, you can expand them this way, or you just can continue to expand them this way. All use of those eye brackets that come included with each of the figures. The first thing we'll do is we'll talk about the accessories that come included with the Flash, and then we'll have a look at the Scarlet Speedster. Most Flash tend to come with this flat hand, and this Flash is no different. It just allows you to display the figure in a running pose. I'll show you guys how that switches out in a second. The thing about the Flash, though, is like the other figures, the other Exquisite Minis that we had a look at, everything is really, really small on this guy, including the hands. So if you want to take the hands off, you just simply just peg it off, unpeg it from the little tiny peg at the bottom of his forearm. Then find the hand that you wanted to go with and just replace it like this. Now, the number of times that you do it will certainly assist with how well those hands stay in place. I did find, however, that Flash's hands attached a whole lot easier and more securely than the Joker's hands did. And then again, you can display him, if you wanted to, in like a running pose. Again, most Flash tend to come with a hand like this, and it's nice to see that Hiya Toys would also include that with their release. We're just going to untab that. So you get a pair of hands. That would be two, by the way. You get two of those that you can display with the figure. We'll go ahead and put the regular hand back on, and then we'll talk about his electricity, because the Flash also comes with some electricity constructs, and those are pretty cool as well. He does come with a pair, and two pairs to be actually exact. One is a longer pair, one is a smaller set. So again, displaying the figure. I think the longer ones likely go with the legs, and then the shorter ones will go supplying to the arms. I'll show you how that works in this, well, right now actually. We'll attach it to the legs, and it couldn't be any bit easier because they are just the size, one size slightly larger than the legs. Means that you can quite easily clamp those in place. I do find like this one clamps a lot easier than this one right here. It does sit a little on the loose side. We'll try flipping around the other way here. Just like that. Yeah, it does sit a little on the loose side. One thing that's neat about it, though, is it's done in translucent plastic, starting with a little bit more of a lighter yellow and working its way to a more warmer orange, and that carries across the board with the smaller ones as well. Again, you're just going to take these, fit them any place where you feel like you got a secure fitting, and just attach them in place there. Now the sky's the limit, certainly, when it comes to displaying these. If you want to display flash in a running pose, again, you can kind of add the flames, the electricity to any place that really holds them. Some of them are a little on the loose side. If you do find you're coming across these being a little too loose for your liking, most definitely you can also heat these ones up with water, and then you can add the electricity, kind of just bend them a little bit more so they sit a little bit more secure against the limbs of the flash. And there you have it with the electricity. Not the most exciting right now, but keep in mind when you eventually get this guy in a running pose, it's going to be pretty cool to, like I said, have him in a running pose, and then you've got the electricity coming out from his legs and his arms. So those are the accessories that come included with the figure. We'll put those all to the side. Last thing I want to have happen is me accidentally lose any one of these. Still, by the way, in case you are wondering, I'm still looking for the crowbar that came included with the Joker. So in the meantime, let's have a look at the Flash. It's certainly a Flash design, but still, like the other Injustice designs, kind of taking their own cues. This one doesn't take too much of a separation from what you would expect for Flash to actually look like. Whereas, say, like the Batman and Superman, for example, I wasn't really a big design fan of those, but I actually like the look of this particular Flash. His head sculpt, for as small as it is, I think they've been able to really capture a lot of cool details to Flash. His skin tone does seem a tad dark, though. Other than that, though, I'm really happy with how the face turned out. It's different in Flash, but it's still rather familiar. Again, if you guys want to see some comparisons, we'll bring in Joker once again so you guys can see. One couldn't be any bit further different than the other one here, but they utilize pretty much the same sort of articulation points. We'll talk about that also in a second as well. What I like about Flash, though, is that he's two-toned. He has the more primary red, the red that you would normally expect, but then he's got this darker, almost reddish-brown color that's making its way into the sleeves, the back of the legs, all the way really down the spine, and down the sections of the legs as well. That brown also carries its way down to the bottom of his feet, where you can also make out the little lightning bolts, a nice little touch that they've added to the ankles. I really like this one. The emblem is raised, that's good, so it's not simply just painted in place. The face sculpt, like I said, is pretty good. Maybe if they had incorporated a bit of a smile or some other expression other than a neutral one to Flash, but I'm overall pretty happy for this being, keeping in mind, a 3 3/4 inch scale. I think they've actually done a really good job on a lot of these figures. There's more hits than misses, if you ask me. As we continue our way down the figure, you really get a lot of the gold trim that works its way down the shoulders, really down the sides of his torso and down his legs as well. I would have preferred this design of Flash, for example, for the live-action Justice League film than the one we ended up getting. I'm still not a big fan of that design. But I like this one, and I like this one quite a bit. Articulation on the Flash is the same as Joker. Just move the head around. Be careful, though, when you are moving these. They are soft plastic, yes, and they have a little bit of give, sure, but you want to make sure that you don't actually clip these too much, that you break them off, rip them off from the sides. Quickly talking about that, by the way, I like how these lightning bolts are exaggerated. They're not simply just a regular shaped lightning bolt that you would expect. They go way up and way out. It's a different design, but again, it's something rather still familiar with this particular Flash. As I said, I got sidetracked, so sorry for that. The head moves up and down. You can rock it back and forth, and you can rotate the head all the way around. The shoulders hinge out at about a 90-degree angle. You can move the arms forward and back. You can bend at the elbow, you can rotate the forearm, and you can also rotate the hand all the way around. Flash also possesses an upper torso ball joint. Key, I think, if you want to get some more exaggerated poses for this guy. And he also has the same thing happening at the lower or mid-torso section. The legs split out. You can get an afforded almost full splits happening for Flash. You move the legs forward, you can move the legs back, swivel at the top cut of the thigh, double hinge on the knee, and then you've got articulation in the feet. Now, those looking for ankle pivot doesn't seem to be the case here on Flash. Doesn't seem as if you can move the legs back or the ankles back and forth. But he has all the other articulation points that you would expect to have for a 3 3/4 inch figure. One thing that they managed to do very well when it comes to Hiya toy releases is the fact that they put a lot of detail for such a smaller scale figure, keeping in mind, again, how much they've been able to incorporate into 3 3/4 inches. There's not a lot of figures on the market back then, or even to this day, that's able to get as intricate details for such a small figure as some of the stuff that we're seeing from Hiya Toys here. Now, my most looked forward to figure for the new line of Injustice 2 figures from the folks over at Hiya Toys was the Joker, and probably one of the reasonings why we looked at him first. That Joker delivered exactly what I would have expected for the Clown Prince of Crime in a smaller 3 3/4 inch scale in the Injustice 2 designs. The Injustice 2 designs may not be everybody's fancy, but like Flash, for example, the one that we looked at next, there's very little that you could tweak to the costume that deviates away from the design of Flash. Even like the Ezra Miller design Flash from the Justice League film, which I've been very noted to say is my least favorite design for the Flash costume. But it just goes to show that I think you can tweak Flash's costume the most, and it still feels like Flash. The Injustice 2 design Flash still keeps very much to the roots of the Scarlet Speedster's costume, and just kind of tweaking it slightly based on the game developers' designs for what they wanted to do with the character. It's somehow a remarkable feat that Hiya Toys is able to shrink all those designs down to a 3 3/4 inch scale. Some of them aren't as successful, like the Harley Quinn, for example. I didn't think the face was as good, but I'm thinking that they've improved the faces for some of the newest releases. The Swamp Thing is still one of my favorites that they've put out so far, and I'm really, again, loving that Joker, but there's got to be said, there's a lot to be said for what they've done with Flash. The Flash colors are darker, a little darker than what you normally would expect to find with Flash, but the fact that you get a smaller 3 3/4 inch fully posable version of Flash is pretty cool and pretty impressive. The fact that Hiya Toys continues to release Injustice 2 figures. The one I'm really looking forward to, and I'm hoping that we're going to see him at least in a upcoming wave, I'm really looking forward to seeing Bane. I really want to see how they're going to handle Bane in a 3 3/4 inch scale. Have you been collecting any of the Injustice 2 Hiya Toys Exquisite Minis? Let me know down below in the comments section which ones you've managed to pick up for yourself. And let me know in the comments section what you guys think of the new Injustice 2 Flash. He's a really neat designed character. I also would like to send out a big thank you to the folks over at Hiya Toys who were nice enough to send these samples my way, all of which we will be having a look at in the current videos right now, the 2 that we've looked at thus far, and the future videos will all be thanks to the folks over at Hiya Toys. If you guys are new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below periodically as well. It'd probably be a good idea to swing on over to the homepage and see if there's anything you may have missed. With the ongoing amount of content I'm posting on a regular basis, there's a very good chance that you may have missed something out along the way, and it's always good to periodically, like I said, to go back to the homepage and see if there's anything you may have missed along the way. That being said, there's going to be a whole bunch of Hiya Toy reviews coming up onto this channel very soon, so if this is sort of your fancy, hopefully you'll be staying tuned to this channel and checking out the videos as they go up and go live. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do, and I'll see you guys next time.